I'm in Florida with Patrick Bet-David and Valuetainment and his team of a podcast. Patrick is an entrepreneur and a guy who we met 15 years ago.
Exactly 15 years.
15 years ago. And he's one of the few guys who said, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to do this and I'm going to do this. And you've hit everything. And you're remarkable. You're remarkable. And now you are taking and helping people become entrepreneurs. And what's the secret of being an entrepreneur? Quickly.
Fast. You got to move quick. You can't be sitting there thinking too long because you don't have a lot of time. You got to move quick. Decisions got to be made quickly, and you got to move on quickly. Okay,
your business guy in Valuetainment is Tom Ellsworth, and he is also the co-host, one of the co-hosts of the podcast. Tom?
I'm part of the home team, and we love what we do here, and my job is to enable and to execute and to keep it running on time.
Right, and you're a small business guy. Startup guy.
And small business guy. And then other parts of my life, I've been an operations guy, help small businesses become big businesses.
Okay. And then Adam, your wealth management, that's your background?
A little bit of that, yeah. Something called life settlements, which is basically reverse mortgages for insurance. So sure, wealth management.
So you're kind of the shifty one.
Yeah,
he's 1,000%.
Right. And Vince is a comedian. I guess that's it.
Yeah, that's a question.
I guess that's it.
I just made people laugh. Remind people, Glenn, that with all the serious, crazy stuff, you still got to laugh at some point.
I just love your team. You guys are just the best. Let's start where yesterday I was on your podcast, and I ended with something that surprised all of you.
Shocker.
And I know it's going to happen.
You know it's going to happen.
Oh, I know it's going to happen.
Glenn.
I know it's going to happen.
No is a powerful word.
I know it's going to happen.
That's insane.
It's calling a shot. Babe Ruth style.
Babe Ruth. Here it is. Day number one of Kash Patel's tenure at the FBI. By the end of the day, he will release the Epstein files.
Oh my God.
Why is that so shocking to you?
But you said the caveat was what? If he gets confirmed. So my question to you is, Glenn, what's the percentage of him actually getting in?
I don't know. Look at the betting markets. It was 80, 90%.
Okay.
Just last week.
Okay.
So it's high. Yeah.
So,
he's out of committee. He's on the floor, right?
No, he's not out of committee until Thursday. The Democrats stalled last week. He was supposed to be out of committee last Thursday, and they said, we've got some other investigations we need to do.
How many of the people on the Epstein list are big name on both sides, not just one side?
Huge, lots.
So when Trump was asked, I'm trying to see who was asking the question. It could have been Brett Baer of 9 months ago of the Epstein list. I don't know if you remember the answer. The answer
I don't
wasn't
remember the question.
The question was about Epstein being released.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a fast, well, we'll see. The Kennedy stuff was faster. Other things were faster. Epstein was a little bit slow. Rob, I don't know if you remember this one or not. If you can, yeah. I just remember it was too slow. So I don't know whether it'll happen or not. If you're saying it is, oh my God. And specifically, let's just say if it's in 10 days, there's going to be a lot of worried people.
So I'm shocked that it will even still exist.
What do you mean?
That the list is still going to be able to be found. Okay? That was my concern. When I was told, I said, oh, really? What are the odds that even exists anymore? That you can put your hands on it? And I was told, oh, no, we know exactly where it is.
Who has it? Do you know who?
The director of the FBI.
So the current director of the FBI has it, not the previous one.
Well,
so
the act, this is what I understand. I don't know this, but it was with the former director of the FBI. Now, whoever is in the transition role until Kash Patel gets in has that unlocking key.
So Christopher Wray had it. Now it's whoever's in the interim. So so two things, Glenn. Because you're talking about one of the prominent names. Elon Musk was like, why the billionaires are supporting Kamala and they hate Trump? Because the Epstein list is coming out. And he said, who? Like Reid Hoffman? He goes, yes. He should be petrified that it's coming out. But and Glenn, when we say the Epstein list, okay, it's just a list. What is the list saying that they were on the island?
So I don't know.
Okay, that's what I'm know. That's what I want to know.
And that's one of the question is
what's the
list? Fallout. There will be people's names on the list, I think, that may not have done anything.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So what happens when that list? That's what I want to know. What happens to this list?
So to me, the reason for my speculation is right here. Rob, if you want to play this, and the host who is asking this question, Rob, if you want to pull this up, she's a sweetheart. No, I'm being serious. If you look at this, you know who she is. We had dinner with her and her husband. You know who her husband is. In this question that's being asked, 9/11, yes. You know, Bobby Kennedy, what do you call it? John F. Kennedy, yes. Epstein, Rob, did you see the text I sent you?
Yep, I have it.
If you, I don't know who's in the back, if they can. When you see this reaction and the answer, this is why I'm skeptical. This is why I'm skeptical that whether it'll be released or not. When you see this clip, you're gonna see it's like, I don't know. I don't know yet. So I don't know if you've seen this or not, Rob. If you have it,
and you know what, Rob. Also, see if the studio can pull up my interview with Kash Patel from the summer. Maybe you'll have it.
I remember that one.
Yeah.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, phenomenal.
Just play the first seconds while they're going out. You don't need to play the back end with Chris. Go for it.
This new year.
Oh, fantastic.
All right.
Hey,
I love this commercial.
See, that's
my favorite one.
That's the kind of stuff you can pull off.
They're keeping it from us.
Was it not a clip? I thought it was a
This is
short
Hot
clip.
Blonde. Oh,
Watch this.
Okay.
President, would you declassify, you can answer yes or no to these. Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah.
Would you,
I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so because, you don't know it. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there because there's a lot of phony
That's the
stuff
part.
with that.
That is the concern, too. That's my concern, is that you don't know. It won't be phony. There is a reason your name is in there, but it doesn't necessarily mean you were a pedophile or having sex with people. You know what I mean? And so I wonder how they're going to deal with that. So I don't know. I've just it's been made very clear to me. Radical transparency is coming on day one of the FBI.
Americans voted for this.
You know what it is? All right, Glenn, that's the Epstein's list. We know for a fact that there were Epstein tapes. I think that, I mean, obviously we don't want to see anything. The public can't see the craziness, but I think it comes down to we have this corroborates with the list. These are videos of you on that list in this house doing this with an underage person. That's what I want.
Here's Kash Patel talking in my office in Dallas over the summer.
I remember this.
Who has Jeffrey Epstein's
Black Book?
Black Book?
FBI.
But who? That is that. I mean, there's.
That's under direct control of the director of the FBI, just like the manifesto from the Nashville school shooting of the Catholic school. We still haven't seen that, right? It's not the Nashville police or PD saying we don't want this out. The FBI airmailed into that operation and said this is not getting out. Because they do that because this is another government gangster operation. All these local law enforcement communities get funding from the DOJ and FBI for local programs. And if you don't cooperate, you're not getting your $1 million for this, and you're not getting and that's a lot of money to these local districts. That's how they play the game.
Who has?
So what's the fallout from the? Let's say it happens in 10 days. What's day 11, 12, and 13 look like?
Well, I think to me it's what happens between now and then. But go ahead, Tom. What do you think happens afterwards once it's dropped?
Well, I've read that there's 4 levels of exposure. The first level, were you confirmed to be on a flight, like on and back? Second, were you confirmed to be on many flights? And there's been some backward analysis that have listed Bill Clinton and others who have been on a flight or many flights. Then were you in a photo similar to Prince Andrew, who was standing there with a positively identified girl that at that time of the photo was underage, but he was just standing there with her. Remember that picture?
Yeah.
And then there's, what about the tapes similar to Diddy, where now you've got clothing optional activities. And that's the 4 things. And it could have been, hey, I was on 2 flights and they were trying to hit me up for this money for the foundation, which supposedly is where Bill Gates started. And then in that case, that's right.
Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. So
notice how he's been distancing himself from Epstein just in the last couple of
His
weeks.
ex-wife
but
has
to
him.
your point, could there be a couple
Right.
people that said, lots of famous people on there, I went out there for 2 flights, they
Sure.
hit me up for money and I left.
Dershowitz says that.
Right.
Yeah, big time.
Yeah.
And
But Dershowitz was also pushed by a fellow on Piers Morgan, and he got extremely uncomfortable when he was pushed on that. So we don't know. That's the thing where this is this the kind of thing that imagine you've done 198 things great in your life. Okay? You got a great resume. You went to the right school. You made a lot of money. You gave a lot of money to charity. You did all the
But then you
if
sleep
this
with a
one
child.
thing you have, guess what?
Then you sleep with a child.
Everything is gone.
Gone.
Yeah. If you were sleeping with underage, if you were having sex on Pedophile Island, that's probably right.
Yep.
But if you just got on the plane, that's not good. What we have is a swing back here, really back to the what do they call it when they were outing all of the guys in Hollywood and anybody who had anything that they had ever done with anyone. The Me Too thing. This is the Me Too, except with pedophiles. And you didn't know for sure how many people were smeared with Me Too that's not right. That didn't happen. Okay?
Yep.
Most did do something wrong, but some may not have.
It should tell you when you're being invited to weird parties like this. Imagine the risk, by the way. So the guy in the who's the guy in the Hamptons? The one guy that puts the big parties in Hamptons.
oh,
or
the
Greenwich?
castle guy.
Yeah, the castle guy. I don't know what his name is. And those the brothers would go
Alexander
party there, the
Yep.
Oren and Alexander brothers. You don't know what's going to be happening at these different places. When you're being invited to these parties, you got to think twice, especially if there's like a Diddy party or some. Imagine how many have gone there. Like the question then becomes, which of the two would you rather know more of? The list of Epstein or Diddy's list? Which of those two lists?
I bet a lot of it does this.
You think so? Mm-hmm. I wonder if, because one is money and politics, the other one is Hollywood celebrities and sports.
Have you been to the Washington Correspondents' Dinner lately?
No.
It's all celebrities. Mm-hmm. It's all celebrities. It's Hollywood for ugly people.
Really?
Oh, yeah.
DC
Wow.
is.
It is.
Yeah.
DC is.
So,
DC is.
Glenn, you seem pretty convinced. You said within 10 days they're going to reveal the Epstein list. I don't know if you follow Polymarkets, but Kash has a 97% chance of being approved. But on Polymarket, they said they only give a 24% chance that Trump will release the Epstein
Well,
files.
make the bet.
So why are you so
what he's
confident?
saying.
I'm going with Glenn.
Why is Glenn Beck so confident is what I want to know.
I just am.
He's just.
Glenn, there's something behind that cheeky smile.
I just am.
I'm
I
betting with
know
I'm with Glenn.
that if it's there, and Kash Patel is the FBI director, it's coming out. It's coming out. It is.
And when you say if it's there, there's an important point of history. In November 1963, Kennedy was assassinated. In 1966, investigations were still ongoing regardless of whether the Warren Commission was finished, and they were still looking for things. The National Archive confirmed that the skull fragment and Kennedy's brain were missing from the archive,
Right.
which were removed after not the sew-up that was done at Parkland Hospital, but the autopsy that was done back in Washington, D.C.
Correct.
And those were missing from the archive so that they could never reopen and do forensic analysis of those materials. And they disappeared. Why did they disappear? So to your point, does every page still exist?
Yeah, I agree. Okay, back in just a second. My gosh, I'm just watching this fabulous host. I don't even know who he is, but I'm just sitting here watching him there with Patrick Bet-David, who is a slice of something yummy himself, right? And I'm thinking, this show can't get any better, but it's going to. Listen, while we're here, let me talk to you about emergency medications, in case you need one. Emergency medications, you should have something on hand, and it's not necessarily for some,
we're all going to die. I feel like, Santa Claus for the apocalypse here, but it doesn't have to be that. Let me tell you about Heather, who got a Jace case, immediately knew she was in for something that she'd been missing out on her whole life. She said the process was really easy. All it takes to get a Jace case is to fill out a simple form online. Her lifestyle, having one at home, was essential for her. She has 8 active, busy children. 8. You know what's causing that, right? It wasn't a case of if she was going to need Jace case, but when. The Jace case is a personalized emergency kit that contains essential antibiotics and medications that treat the most common and deadly bacterial infections. It provides 5 life-saving antibiotics for emergency use. They even have ivermectin as an add-on if you want it. So go to jace.com, enter the promo code BECK10 at checkout for your discount on your order. That's promo code, promo code BECK10 at jase.com, promo code BECK10.
All right, so we were talking about Epstein. Now let's talk about the Kennedy files. Kennedy files are coming out. What's in the Kennedy files? What was it that in that same interview I did with Kash Patel over the summer, I said, what's in the Kennedy files? And he said, because he's seen them, and he said, it's not what everybody thinks. It's not a who, it's a what. I don't know what that means. What does that mean?
Even mean?
Say what?
It's not a who, it's a what. Okay, so if we say the who, let's go through a list of all the folks. LBJ, CIA,
Alan Dulles,
the mob.
So wait.
That's the who.
So no. Alan is a who. LBJ is a who. CIA, the mob, that's a what, isn't it?
Got it.
Because that.
So then, by the way, then if you go even a little bit deeper, if you think the what was not happy about the things he wanted to do? Federal Reserve. You got maybe who's that?
Vietnam. He wanted to get us out.
So you got military industrial,
bigger
CIA,
than that. You have him
Mossad.
saying just a few weeks before, we're not going to fight the Cold War the way we are. We are, because remember, there was one, I can't remember his name, there was one general who was campaigning for first strike on Russia. Hit him now. We're going to have this fight. Let's take him out now. And Kennedy found that abhorrent. And he said, we're gutting the CIA. We're gutting the military-industrial complex. We're not going to fight it that way. That's a pretty big deal. I'm not saying that they had anything to do with it, but there are a lot of people that had real motivation.
That was Kennedy's scatter to the winds quote, correct?
Yep.
I just think, Glenn, personally, I think because they've been holding it so long and why Trump was holding it and kind of was like, because they've all seen it, like you said. I think if the truth comes out and the what is the CIA and the FBI with any type of collusion with LBJ, what happens to the CIA and the FBI?
Oh, no.
Because everybody's dead. Everybody's dead that was involved.
There is speculation that the CIA was here in Miami on Oswald's tail, which means they had understanding of who he was prior to, which we now know they did, but here in Miami, which either makes him a patsy or the CIA knew and blew it. Why would you keep that information? Because they were following him and then they didn't do anything with it, or because they were involved?
Yeah, exactly. And I spoke on this before too about the book Chaos. I forgot the name. Robert Kelly, I think. I'm probably messing up the name. But then remember when Oswald, so who shot Jack Ruby shoots him in the basement of the Dallas Police Department, and then Ruby's in prison. Jolly West, a psychiatrist with ties to the CIA, goes in there, talks to him for about 4 hours. When he leaves, he's lost his mind, and he was saying, they injected me, they did something, he loses his mind, and then everything's a wrap. So to have that type of operation, that type of MK Ultra, I would say, Glenn, if I had to guess, the CIA was definitely involved. That's me.
I think it's fair to say, much like Epstein, JFK didn't kill himself. So I think we're gonna go on a
No,
limb
his
here.
driver did.
Yeah, exactly.
It's a wallpaper joke. You see that wallpaper? And Jeffrey Epstein, what's that? That wallpaper didn't hang itself.
Tom O'Neill's the writer of the book. Tom O'Neill.
Patrick, what is this kind of radical transparency? Are the American people ready for all of the secrets that are coming out?
So here's, Rob, if you can pull up the level of trust Americans have in the U.S. government. It's the all-time low. We've seen this from, and you see when the drop starts. It starts right after John F. Kennedy assassination in the 60s. So if you go to the score, look at how the highest we were ever was in 1964, okay? Assassination happens right around there. Johnson comes in. Right after he comes in, we go from 77%. We go all the way down to 22%, even a little bit lower under Biden. If you go back, under Biden, Rob, you'll see under Biden, we were at 14% Biden, you're on Trump. Under Biden, Rob.
There you go.
Under Biden, go a little bit lower, and then you see 14%, 19%. So if you go there and you see the numbers, I think that under a Trump administration, I think you're going to see that number go to 50% plus. If they release, and I wouldn't even be surprised if it goes to 60%, 50, 60% in trust, because the trust in U.S. government is based on who's running it at the time. So if they come out and they say, yep, here's what's going on, they spend $58 million, send it to FEMA, FEMA send it to New York at these high-end hotels that they're putting people in. Yep, we just looked at this government efficiency. They sent all this money over here for this study, $1.5 million to Armenian, LGBT, Uganda for this money. Yep, they went and did this, and CIA was a part of it. We just got to say it. It's embarrassing, but we were behind this. They're going to sit there and say, I trust today's government. Not I trust the government. I trust today's government under this administration. And a lot of people's trust is going to go up and say, okay, you know what? No problem. We're going to go back to news being the talent instead of the talent being the news because you're stating exactly what's going on. If they pull it off, it's revolutionary what it does to the trust.
I completely agree. Although Europe looks at us and laughs and it says, for 500 years, we've been knocking off our leaders in the name of succession planning.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not new. The kings and queens and the monarchies of Europe had a certain king or queen be off the reservation are like, okay, we can't have this. Okay.
But isn't this, I mean, Donald Trump coming in, I got to believe if I'm in Italy, I'm a farmer in Sweden, I'm living in the UK, I'm looking at America going, oh, thank God, Donald Trump. Thank God, Donald Trump. Does this move to Europe if we're successful?
Well, listen, what you said earlier was a book I read many years ago, Team of Rivals, the whole history of what Lincoln did and all that stuff. And you mentioned that earlier. To me, if there's a team of rivals who are all unified around a same message to fight the mob or correct an injustice, there also has to be a team of criminals. Mm-hmm. So you got team of rivals, you got team of criminals. And today, the team of criminals are not just in the U.S., they're around the world. So if you've been running it like this, the team of criminals from different countries that have been getting paid and money's funneling in from different places where we talked about earlier with Ben Bernanke in 2009 saying, so where did this $500 billion go to? It went to 2 institutions in Europe. Which ones? I don't know. How do you not know $500 billion of money? So if it's going to Europe, you have to know those people are not happy because these are people that didn't create businesses, or these are people that are getting deals from the government funneling money through a business. That is a nice little situation to have for themselves. I think a lot of people are walking on eggshells right now being exposed around the world because they've had this one membership that they've been using, the team of criminals, and they've been getting away with literally closest thing to murder, some even with murder. And now that membership's going to be like, okay, give it back to us. Yeah, this membership's going to be given back to team of rivals that are going to hold you accountable, and you did this, and you did that, and you did this, and guess what? It's done. You're not going to be able to pull this off anymore. You're seeing that. You're seeing Milei. You're seeing, a little bit of Maloney. You're seeing a little bit of Bukele. You're seeing a little bit of all these guys. Orban are like, I don't know if I like these guys, but the people who want accountability, they're liking it.
Have you guys? Is anybody a Daniel Craig James Bond fan?
Yes.
Okay. So what was it, Spectre, I think, where he's standing up and he's looking down at that giant table of Spectre? That's what we're fighting. I think that is almost exactly what we're fighting. Odds that can be taken out.
Odds that can be taken out?
Yeah.
Well, it starts with this. Because remember, Epstein is not just America, okay? It wasn't just Prince Andrew is not U.S. So imagine, like, Prince Andrew comes, man of power, If the stories we see with the pictures of him and that girl getting a massage and stories come back out validating, wait a minute, that happened, family goes like this a little bit. So he comes, he parties. What kind of friends does Andrew have? Probably guys like himself. He goes back and he probably knows other people in high places. Hey, bro, wink, wink, go on this next trip with me to this island. He brings 3 other people. He goes back. Those 3 bring 3 other people. So this is Epstein. If Epstein has videos, that's the biggest thing. If he's got videos, actual videos, which I know Diddy has videos based on what we're reading about. If there's actual videos, this is a new era.
When we come back, I want to ask you about it. Do you think this was do you think Jeffrey Epstein was working for our government? That this was like the kind of stuff we did in World War II against the Nazis? Back in just a second.
Gosh, I hate to interrupt because this is just, I mean, these two are fabulous. And those other guys, oh my gosh, what are they going to say next? Anyway, imagine for a second that you've made a horrible decision, one that's going to cost your innocent child's life. Now imagine that you have a chance to undo that decision. How grateful and relieved would you be? Right now, the abortion pill accounts for 60% of all abortions, and it's pretty much available 24/7. That's why preborn is so important right now. In addition to what they're doing, free ultrasounds, they're also administering a protocol, a brand new protocol for women who are women who have attempted abortion but want to reverse that decision. Preborn has rescued over 300,000 babies from abortion and 300,000 moms. Every day, on average, they rescue 200 more. When a woman is considering an abortion, she hears her baby's heartbeat and sees that baby on an ultrasound, the baby's chance at life is doubled. If you have the means, would you consider a leadership gift to save babies in a big way? Your tax-deductible donation of $5,000 will sponsor Preborn's entire network for 24 hours, helping rescue 200 babies. Donate right now. Just dial pound 250. Say the keyword baby. That's pound 250, keyword baby, or donate securely at preborn.com/Glenn. Preborn.com/Glenn.
Odds this is that Epstein was working for the government.
Define working for the government.
Excused by, had high-placed intelligence operatives using him to collect evidence on our enemies and on our friends.
I'll give you a crazy story. So in the insurance industry, there's something called premium financing. Premium financing is you buy a big $20 million life insurance policy. The premium is $600,000 a year over whatever, 7 years. You don't pay the premium. You finance the premium. So you get $4.2 million and you put it in there and the interest pays back the loan on this premium financing. A lot of people made a lot of money on this. You walk away getting $600,000 check, $1 million check, in some cases, $2-3 million checks. One guy, this is a story about, this is the top 5 premium financing guys. One guy steals a client from another guy. And the case is going to cost him a few $1 million. He says, you're going to take that client away from me? I am. No problem. This guy had 2 prostitutes on his payroll. He sends the first detective. Detective goes first and watches the guy's patterns. What restaurant he sits, where he sits, what he does. They study him for 1 month. No problem. Month later, after he realizes he goes to the same place at the same time, at the same bar, asks for the same drink, he sends one of his prostitutes, goes there. The prostitute's dressed, innocent, everything. She starts crying. Is everything okay? Yeah, I really love my husband, but I can't take this abuse no more. I'm so sorry. I don't know why I'm sharing all this stuff with you. I just need somebody to talk to. And then she walks off. The man feels the need to want to help, follows her, goes to the elevator, goes upstairs. Boom, everything is done. She sends the tape back to the guy. The guy sends the tape to him and says, hey, you may want to call that client to send that client over to me and tell him you can't do the business and you better send it to me or else that's being sent to everybody. The guy sends the client over. He gets the insurance policy. This is in the insurance industry, Glenn. If this is happening in the insurance industry, you don't think this is happening at the governmental level?
I know.
So I know what's happening. So for me now is how valuable is Epstein? Think about it. Typically guys like that who have a gift, and their gift is to schmooze. Not everybody has the gift of schmoozing. The gift of schmoozing, where you can go in and get people to put their guard down and get them to do things they typically wouldn't do on their own, and you make them feel like it's okay. It's not a big deal. Just go in the room. It's fine. And then afterwards, you're like, hey, I know you went there. There's this guy, Rob, if you can pull him up, where he paid $159 million of consulting fee to Epstein. What was the guy's name?
Leon Black.
Leon Black.
Yeah.
Leon Black paid $150 million. It's 150 right there. Billionaire Leon Black made a $158 million payment to Epstein. They want to know why. You know what his answer was? He says it was consulting and it was helping out with estate planning. Really? Really?
Wow.
I've never paid. We spend a lot of money on estate planning.
Wow.
I've never heard of $158 million.
Yeah.
So that's the part. When you see stories like this, do I foresee Jeffrey saying, hey, look, you went there, you had fun with that 15-year-old girl. I get it. It's between us. I need you to wire $158 million here. And this is the bill for consulting. All you have to say is estate planning is not illegal. We're going to be fine.
So let me switch, because I think one of the most dangerous things that Elon Musk has talked about going into, and Donald Trump said we're sending in, is the Federal Reserve. That's where $158 million looks like chump change. Do we actually audit the Fed? Does Donald Trump have the chance to turn all of this upside down? Tom?
Are you asking about going into the modern Fed or the recent past Fed? Are you talking about going into the financial crash of 2008 and find out what really happened there? Or
I'm saying right now.
Now?
What's happened from 24 back.
Yeah, I think right now that's a pretty hairy thing to do. I think that makes me nervous when I think about it, because
why?
Because of the modern intertwined nature of all these banks around the world, and how difficult it is to get. It's hard enough to run one economy. Now try to run multiple economies. And I just think that the Federal Reserve has basically built itself up as this parallel government. And I'm going to call it a government, and it is, dating back to, the beast from Jekyll Island.
Yeah.
And I think it's incredibly hard to do right now. And I think the more you get into it, the more weird you're going to see things. You're going to see enemies that are frenemies, and you're going to see a lot of prop up and things that are artificial. I mean, USAID and our own self finding out that, wow, we got to be careful. What if all that money was going in the economy? We create a recession unto ourselves because we turn off the faucet. Now, what if you go in and you discover that basically major world economies are basically fake and propped up and it's all intertwined?
That's exactly what we would
now
find.
What?
Yeah. What are the odds that Donald Trump can not just in this, but take on all of these institutions, take on our enemies abroad, take on all of the enemies here in our country, clean house, keep the economy going, and make it through the next 4 years? I mean, that's to me, that is the trick.
So in my business plan this year, I wrote 3 words at the top. I called 2023 the year of investigation, 2024 the year of chaos, which it was, and I called 2025 the year of surprises. Surprises could be good, bad, ugly, great, we don't know, but there's going to be surprises. Then the 3 words for the year were product, speed, and signal. Okay? Product, speed, signal. So let's look at each one of them under Trump, what he's doing. Product. He's focused on making all the products better. So who has he brought in? Musk, focus on making a product better. Bobby Kennedy, focus on making a product better. What product? Whatever we eat, whatever we touch, whatever we drink, whether it's fluoride in water, he's trying to make the product better. Musk, DOGE, product better, expenditure better, right? Second is speed. Musk is working so fast. I think it was Andreessen that says, I don't know a lot of people that know how to get things done as fast as Elon gets done. So speed is the next one. Third one, if you give Trump credit on anything, the reason why they're moving as fast as possible, I think he has mastered one thing at the age of 78. His ability to manage noise at 78 maybe, it's definitely at his best he's ever done, but he's managing noise today like I've never seen him do.
I've never seen anyone do.
Well, that's why he is able to bring the team of rivals like you referenced earlier. So he is so locked in, and the noise are like, did you hear about what they said on the cover of Time Magazine? I thought Time Magazine went out of business. They're still in business. The guy's asking a question on a plane. Hey, what do you think about this and this and that? And they said that this. Listen, I don't even know what you're asking. And I don't even think you know what you're asking. And he says, who are you with? HuffPo. Are they still in business? I thought you guys went bankrupt. So the way he's dealing with noise is in ways he didn't before.
Exactly
he's doing it in a happy way that was very different than the angry way. He's in a very different place today.
So let me play, take cut 2. Here's what the Democrats are now saying about Elon Musk and what's happening in Washington.
It's U.S. aid, it's education, they're going to go to Medicaid, and it is about the effect of what happens in the lives of American people, of middle-class families, of working families, of what is going to happen to their ability to be able to survive both economically and to be able to have a future going forward. That is what they are doing. They are dismantling the federal government, which will deny the American people the services and the resources that allow them to help to raise their families, have a secure economy, and a secure future for themselves.
I want to take something specific out of that. And I'll ask you, we'll take a quick break and we'll be right back.
One of the biggest and scariest crimes going on right now is called house stealing, which kind of sounds made up, but it's not. It's absolutely a real thing. I want you to check out Home Title Lock today by going to their website, HomeTitleLock.com. What you're going to want to do is look at something called triple lock protection. You don't want to wait around and run the chance of losing your home to a cyber criminal. And with everything that's going on with cybercrime, it's only going to get worse. But they have triple lock protection. This triple lock provides 24/7 monitoring of your title, urgent alerts of any changes, and if, God forbid, the worst happens, their U.S.-based team works fast to restore your title at no additional cost to you. And our friends at Home Title Lock have a special offer. When you sign up at HomeTitleLock.com, use the promo code Glenn, you're going to get 30 days of their triple lock protection for free. You get a free title history report so you can make sure you're not already a victim. Just go to HomeTitleLock.com right now. Use the promo code Glenn. Protect your home, your equity, and your peace of mind. HomeTitleLock.com, promo code Glenn. Don't wait. It's too late.
So we just played Rosa DeLauro, and she said at the end, they're dismantling government. I think the Democrats are saying that. They believe that, and it's true. Government has become the NGOs, the graft, everything else. Government is no longer the three branches. The government, what it actually does, we're now finding out, is outside of our purview. Anything that we see, we credit to the government. But they're taking apart, they say he's taking apart at the government. They're taking apart a government that was not meant to be the United States government. Do you agree with that?
I mean, just by the looks of it, she seems like an evil character from a movie. Okay, you have purple hair.
Right.
I'm trying to hear what she's trying to say. She can't get it out, which totally makes sense. I get it, but for me, it's very simple. Accountability is here, and they're panicking. In America, when we vote and you pay taxes, here's how this works. Do you trust this $1 million, this $50,000, this $8,000 of taxes you paid going to politicians that they're going to do better with it? Or do you trust this money going to the market that they're going to do better with it? So, for example, if President Trump keeps his promise of lowering the taxes, which is coming here soon, when he does, if that gives a business $5 million more to reinvest into the economy, that $5 million, that business owner is going to do one of three things. Either he's going to put it back into employees, either he's going to invest it into new software and technology, which is creating jobs for consultants, or he's going to keep it cash in a bank. Let's say he does nothing with the $5 million savings. The bank where he's keeping the $5 million is going to take that money and invest it and loan it out to an entrepreneur that's going to do something with it. The one thing we learned the last 4 years during COVID is that if you leave it to the government, they want to be able to control you, your personal life, your decisions more. And I think the American people said, I trust my decision-making process. If I don't do it right, great. But if I do it right, leave me alone. I think that's the evolution and the process that we're going through today.
You see the tariffs that have been imposed, and we talked about it on your podcast yesterday about how the media is saying, oh my gosh, interest rates are going. The tariffs haven't even come into play yet. How could this be responsible for interest rates or for inflation? He's got to balance so many things, keep so many balls spinning in the air just on the economy, raising the tariffs, keeping the interest rate in check, inflation, taxes. How difficult is it to be able to manage all of these things and get it right?
It's almost like you ever play poker, where you got to have an inside flush in order to pull all this thing off, and you pull that middle card, boom, we got it. What Trump is trying to do the most amazing, elaborate game plan we've ever seen, and he doesn't have 8 years to do it. I know we're talking about speculating that he has another third term potentially. I don't know about all that. He's got literally 4 years, but more hyper literally 2 years.
Yes.
Because after the midterm cycle, we're going to see what happens with J.D. Vance with that. But why do you think that the permanent, Pat talks about the establishment versus anti-establishment. Why do you think the establishment bureaucracy is so objecting to whatever DOGE is doing, whatever Trump is doing? Because basically they're revealing, like Vinny always talks about, the behind the Wizard of Oz, behind the curtain. They're like, what are you doing with all this? This is where all this money's going? Line by line by line by line. That's something that I'm going to permanently keep saying. Let's go line by line by line, and let's see where all the money is going. Let's find out.
It is crazy, Glenn, that he's like, and you mentioned, like, when you say it like that, everything that he's doing, from the economy to the border to terrorists to foreign policy, everything, and he's holding the place like you're talking about. I just think, when he got shot in the freaking head and he survived, that to me was God's intervention, saying, you know what? This guy has work to do, and I'm not going to give him anything he can't handle. And before our very eyes, he's doing it, and I think he's going to continue doing it. It's going to be amazing.
He changed that
he's
day.
He's so different.
He's
so
been
different. Saying that for a while.
Yeah.
It's almost like he kind of sat back, Glenn, and was like, okay, I'm here. Literally, I'm here for something way bigger than me.
Have you ever had serious death threats?
I lived in Iran. We got bombed on all the time.
Yeah. But I mean, as an adult, it clarifies you. Right. You take pause and saying, what's worth dying for? And I think that happened to Donald Trump. Is this worth dying for? Yeah, it is. And I'm not going halfway. It's not about me. It's not about the name. It's not about the family. It's about something that a lot of people in the world are trying to stop, and that's freedom. And I think that just clarified him like nothing else could.
You know when they say certain events in life, it's literally life-changing. You will never be the same ever again.
Yes.
Okay? So at the top of it is what? Maybe somebody will say giving your life to Christ or having a relationship with God. Okay, great. First time you hold your baby and you're going through the process with your wife, you're in the labor, you're like, oh my God, what just happened? Life-changing, right, when you have the kid. There's certain events that your mom or dad telling you the words you were always waiting to hear for 30 years, but you never heard it, which is what I'm proud of you, right? You will never forget those days. You got a close call with death and you make it, you're not the same human being. These are life-altering. You alter as a human being. You will never, ever be the same ever again, and we're witnessing a new person.
I had they thought I had a blood clot in my leg just about 4 weeks ago. Just the drive to the hospital, thinking I could stroke out right now. It changes so much. It's still screwing with me in some ways. Where are your priorities? What's happening? Yada, yada, yada. Being shot at.
Yeah.
I mean, I can't. When you think, especially if, in my case, if it would have been a blood clot. Yeah. Then you're walking around with that idea. I could still die. They got that blood clot, but I could stroke out at any time. I have a tendency towards that. He knows they're still trying to kill him.
Yep.
What do you get up in the morning for? I mean, why are you doing it? I mean, I think that makes all the difference in the world with him. I think that's why he changed.
And he's changed, but the attack dogs and the Democrats haven't. And they don't have a playbook here, but they have their own play style. Over the last 48 hours, the phrase constitutional crisis has been jumping up on Google search because of the way it's being used by the mainstream media. We have a constitutional. So they're trying to gaslight the American people to believe the threat to democracy is here. We have a constitutional crisis, but there's nothing behind it except that they're driving the use of the word because all they have is feelings and all they have is words of accusation. They don't have anything that's real, but what they're trying to protect is the machine of corruption that's in place, and the Klieg lights are being turned on. And whenever I see this, it gives me more hope because the louder they scream, the more I'm convinced that we're on the right track. The louder they scream and the more vicious and the more reactionary they get, the more I think, well, why are they reacting like this? They're not just trying to get reelected. They're not just trying to get a donation. They are scared. And so when I see that, it makes me worried, but at the same time, it makes me confident that, the right closets are being opened.
I think if they don't get it, that the whole world has just changed on Inauguration Day, he wins. The minute they really start to get it and go, oh, and we change the way we're playing, the bad guys, we change and we adapt, then he's going to have some problems. But I don't think people, especially, I mean, what's going to happen on Saturday at noon with Hamas? Do they understand the world has changed? Do they understand you better release those hostages because something's coming your way afternoon on Saturday?
Yeah, and you'll be able to see those 77 virgins that aren't there because he's going to go through with his promise. He is not playing games. So, and yeah, Tom, you nailed the word constitutional crisis is the new threat to democracy because that one's over with. They're finished with that one. Now they move on.
It's trending in the last 48 hours.
Huge.
The media is using it to death to cause it to trend.
Well, I believe it was Scott Jennings on CNN who said the fact that all Trump is doing is taking the 80% on the issue and just focusing on that, whereas the Democrats are basically left trying to double down on whatever the 20% is, i.e. trans women participating in sports. So time after time after time, Trump is taking the issue that the American people actually agree with, and the Democrats are forced to defend whatever ridiculous position he's taking the other side on.
Patrick, 30 seconds.
I would say when it comes down to being a parent, your threat has a score, and your kids will size you up with your threat. If you have to tell your kid 20 times, they don't believe your threat. If you have to tell your kid once, they fully believe your threat. Trump's at a place right now where the world is trusting his threat, and it's the wrong time to question the credibility of his threat.
Hopeful?
Very. Very.
Thank you. It's a joy to be with you guys. Really is. You're creating something really, really cool
Thank
here.
you.
And I think, you're part of the movement from greed to good, which I think is critical right now. You're doing a great job. Thank
Appreciate you.
From Miami, good night, America.